This is rush hour on Highway 278 in Beaufort County back in 2006. Imagine the congestion that would occur here if a hurricane evacuation had been necessary. At the time, 278 was the only route to safety off Hilton Head Island and would have taken at least 26 hours to get everyone out of harm's way.
Hurricane evacuation is difficult in South Carolina because of the lack of the infrastructure we have of driving inland. We jokingly say we can get you to the county line, we're not sure we can get you past. What is happening in South Carolina is by using the technology, for example, in Beaufort County, we're able to determine the amount of traffic that we're having from Beaufort County, look at the effects that is occurring throughout the state, and maybe routing our people to areas that may not be as congested as they have been in past evacuations. We have just connected in Jasper County and the Hampton County Emergency Operations Centers to ensure that they have the information of what's occurring in Beaufort County so they can adjust their operations within the county to keep the traffic moving through. The big key that we have is real-time information coming into our command centers, to allowing us to instantly respond to situations as they develop and not have to wait so long to get people on the scene and say, well, this is what we think's happened, and get someone else's interpretation. Significant step forward.
Beaufort County's population boom began in 1995 and peaked in 2006. More and more vehicles entered the highway each day until a headache became a nightmare. US 278 saw hundreds of accidents, fatalities, injuries, and delays.
I had a flashback last night. I was coming off Hilton Head Island. Unfortunately, we had an accident affecting westbound traffic at Windmill Harbor, and we blocked both lanes, and it was about 25 minutes. My meeting was over at 5:30. I live in Bluffton, traveled about 11 miles, took about an hour and a half. And it reminded me of what we experienced a few years back with 278 and the congestion that we had and the weather and the high amount of accidents. And it drew attention to several things. First, the overwhelming concern about public safety. Second, the economics of the situation in terms of how it affects commerce, businesses. And third, parental concerns and just common sense kind of things about, can I get to someplace on a timely basis every day?
This is US 278 today. Traffic flows smoothly, accidents and delays are few. This is because of $20 million worth of highway improvements. Beaufort County leaders aggressively lobbied Washington for the funds.
We realized early, actually in the 99-2000 time frame, that the accident statistics for Highway 278 were increasing. The volume of traffic on Highway 278 was beyond that which its design capacity. And early on in the three-tiered Wilbur-Smith studies that were done, U.S. Highway 278 was among those roadways that were considered failing or borderline failing because of the capacity. As a consequence, we engaged in the 2000-2001 time frame with an education process and began our lobbying process in Washington. We started with the demographics from the 2000 census. The 40% growth we had experienced in Beaufort County, the volume, the daily traffic counts on Highway 278, the number of accidents, both injury and without injury, just property damage, coupled with the evacuation time frame. And we started working at that point in time with Senator Hollings, Senator Thurmond, and Representative Floyd Spence, laying the background and learning about the federal allocation process to the Department of Transportation. We had urged our representatives in Columbia with the Department of Transportation and others, and were frustrated that there appeared to be no money from the state and no assistance coming with regard to Highway 278. So we started the process of pursuing federal dollars. We were fortunate that DOT and our representative on the commission, John Hardy, helped us in maneuvering Highway 278 through the process and building the consensus that needed to be to put 278 in line for federal earmarks. So, you know, it took 6-7 years, but the result is $20 million worth of federal funding that came directly for the benefit of U.S. Highway 278 that nobody else was pursuing but us.
Expansion of US 278 to 6 lanes was completed in 2007. The project came in on time and under budget. It included new traffic signals, resurfacing, widening to 6 lanes, and bike paths. Additional video cameras were posted along the highway to assist emergency responders. The cameras are hooked up to the county's website and television channel, allowing commuters to check the conditions before hitting the highway.
Beaufort County has been putting in an extensive system of traffic cameras to allow us to monitor the highways throughout Beaufort County and specifically along the Highway 278 corridor. Through this system, we have the ability to monitor everyday instances as they occur and to ensure that we have the proper response of emergency services to fast and quickly remove the incidents from the streets to keep traffic moving.
With the obvious difficulties involved in securing state and federal funding for roadway improvements, Beaufort County leaders recognized the necessity of obtaining more reliable sources of funding. Work is underway now to improve several other Beaufort County roadways. A list of 10 major projects was developed following studies by a group appointed by Council Chairman Weston Newton. The group was composed of engineers from various jurisdictions throughout the county.
In 2006, we determined that we would identify the goals as being safety and capacity improvements to the roadways, working directly with all of the municipalities in the county and their staffs. Collectively, we came up with a list of projects for the voters to consider. So it was not a list that had been developed by Beaufort County without the full and complete input of the municipalities, and it was a project list that was limited to roadway improvements for which there was a consensus that those projects needed to be completed.
Chairman Newton led a county delegation to Washington to seek federal money for 10 identified road projects. Alternative funding sources were also implemented, including developer impact fees, admissions fees, and hospitality fees. This generates money from tourists who, like residents, depend on the safety of Beaufort County highways.
It was a significant issue for the lower part of South Carolina. 24,000 workers traverse that corridor every day from parts beyond southern Beaufort County to go to work. 1.5 million visitors come to Hilton Head Island every year. The economic impact that comes out of Hilton Head Island, all of the factors were present to make a sound demonstration that this was not a parochial project. This was a project that supported not only the health, safety, and welfare of our citizens on a daily basis, that we needed the improvements in the event of a natural disaster or a hurricane event, that the road in its condition at the time, we couldn't move emergency management personnel under certain circumstances, coupled with the economic impact from tourists, and really spoke to the fact tourism is South Carolina's #1 industry, and more than 10% of that was coming off an area in the state that was connected to the rest of the state by 2 lanes in either direction, and that's it. And you know, fortunately, through hard work and through being tenacious, we were able to be successful in securing federal earmarks for Highway 278.
The 10 major